Have you ever had that moment, like, where something you've always, like, totally believed suddenly feels kind of off?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you start to question everything you thought you knew.
I know exactly what you mean.
Well, that's exactly where we're going today, folks.
Buckle up.
Because we're diving deep into something that might just rock your world.
This is going to be good.
We're talking about the future tense, or should I say the lack thereof in English.
Ooh, controversial.
I know, right? For years, we've all been taught that English has a future tense, just like any other language.
It's in all the textbooks.
Right. But the stuff you sent me for this deep dive suggests that it's not that simple.
Yeah, it's way more interesting than that.
So basically, the big lie we've all been fed is that English has this neat little box labeled future tense that we can just tick off.
Yeah, it's a bit of a linguistic myth.
But, in reality, English doesn't actually have a true future tense in the same way that other languages do.
Like, think about Spanish with its hablaré, or French with its je parlerai.
Right. Those verbs actually change form to indicate the future.
It's called inflection.
But English, well, we do things a little differently.
We like to keep things interesting.
So that's the big question we're tackling today in this deep dive.
Hit me with it.
Why doesn't English have this built-in future tense like so many other languages do? And more importantly, how do we actually talk about the future without it?
The sources you sent were awesome, by the way.
Weren't they? They really shed light on the ingenious ways that English speakers have kind of hacked together their own system.
Yeah, we've gotten pretty creative with it.
So we're going to break down those different tools that English uses, modal verbs like will and shall.
Good old shall always makes me feel fancy.
Me too. And those phrases that we all use like going to and about to.
Those are essential.
The goal is to give you a much clearer understanding of the subtle and sometimes not so subtle differences between all these different ways we have of expressing future time in English.
Because, let's be honest, sometimes it can get a little confusing.
Absolutely. And you know what? This isn't just some random grammar lesson for language nerds.
Though we do love our grammar lesson.
Oh, totally. But understanding these nuances can actually help you communicate more effectively in English.
Because using the right form can make a big difference in how your message is understood.
Exactly. Like knowing when to use will versus going to can totally change the meaning of what you're trying to say.
It's all about those subtle shades of meaning.
Plus, it can help you avoid some pretty common mistakes that even native speakers sometimes make.
Oh yeah, we're all guilty of that.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it.
Let's do this.
When we talk about tense in grammar, we're talking about how verbs change form to show when an action happened.
Right, the past, present, and you guessed it, the future.
But as we've been saying, English doesn't really play by the rules when it comes to the future tense.
We're rebels like that.
True tenses involve changes to the verb itself, like adding ed to make a past tense, or eng for the present, continuous.
Like walk becomes walked and walking.
Exactly. But for the future, English uses something called modal verbs.
Enter will and shall.
And those handy multi-word phrases, which are called periphrastic constructions.
Going to is a prime example.
So when your old grammar textbook talks about the future tense, it's really more of a catch-all term.
Yeah, it's a convenient label for a bunch of different strategies that we use to talk about things that haven't happened yet.
And here's the thing. These different forms, will, going to, and even using the present continuous for future events,
Don't forget about that one.
they're not just interchangeable synonyms.
Oh no, they each have their own little personality.
I love that. They do each have their own vibe.
It's like they're all pointing towards the future, but they take different paths to get there.
And carry different baggage along the way.
Exactly. Like imagine saying, I'll call you. That usually implies you're making the decision right then and there.
Like someone just asks you to call and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll call you.
Exactly. But if you say, I'm going to call you, well, that suggests that you've already thought about it.
Like you've made a plan to call them.
Right. And if you say, I'm calling you tomorrow,
Ooh, that's even more specific.
that means you've already set a time.
Like it's on your calendar.
Exactly. So you see, each of these expresses futurity in a slightly different way.
I mean, it's almost like a linguistic workaround, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, like we're finding creative ways to express the future, even without a dedicated tense form.
And you know what's even more interesting? I was reading in the stuff you sent that Old English actually did have a way to directly express the future.
No way, really?
Yeah, it used a form like ik frem, which eventually evolved into I will do.
So what happened? Why did we lose that awesome future tense?
Well, the sources kind of jokingly blamed it on chaos.
Chaos. That's my middle name.
But seriously, though, the real reasons are pretty complex.
I bet it involves some serious linguistic shenanigans.
It did. It had to do with changes in the sounds of the language and how words were formed.
Plus, little influence from other languages like Norman French.
Oh, yeah, the Norman conquest really shook things up.
Big time. So basically, over time, Old English's future tense just faded away.
And we were left with this system of adaptable tools that we use to fake the future tense.
I love that fake the future. It's so us.
Right. So let's break down these 5 main ways that English speakers pull off this future faking magic.
Let's expose the secrets.
And more importantly, when to use each one. Starting with our good friend Will, what's its role in all of this?
Will is like king of instant decisions.
Like when you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks, "What can I get for you?"
And you're like, I'll have the steak.
Bam! Decision made right there in the moment.
It's also the go-to for making promises.
Like, "I'll pay you back tomorrow."
Or for predictions based on what you know or believe at the time.
Like, "I think it'll be a sunny day tomorrow."
Mhm.
So will is all about those spontaneous choices, promises made on the spot, and predictions about what might happen.
It's the verb of the now.
Love it. Now, what about going to? This one feels like it covers a wider range of future situations.
Right. We're definitely going to. Is like the master planner of the future tense crew.
It's for those things that you've already decided you're going to do.
Like when you say, I'm going to learn how to play the guitar this year.
That means you've already set this goal for yourself.
You've thought about it and you're committed to it.
And of course, we can't forget about the super casual gonna.
Gotta love gonna. It's like the comfy sweatpants of future expressions.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
It's so effortless.
All right, on to our third method, the present continuous.
This one always tricks people up.
I know it seems counterintuitive using the present tense to talk about the future.
But trust me, it works.
The key here is that the present continuous is used for future events that are already scheduled and fixed.
Like if you say, we're meeting for lunch at 1 o'clock.
That means you've already made the arrangements.
It's in the diary.
It's a done deal.
Exactly. Think of it as events that are controlled by a schedule, rather than just a personal intention.
So it's not just, I'm thinking about meeting you for lunch. It's, we are meeting for lunch.
It's a subtle but important difference.
Got it. Okay, now what about the simple present tense? That's usually for talking about habits and routines, right?
Right. Like I wake up at 7 every morning.
But it can also be used to express the future in certain cases.
It's all about context.
So when we use the simple present tense to talk about the future, it's usually for events that are on a fixed timetable.
Like public transportation schedules.
Like the train leaves at 8 a.m. sharp.
Or for things that are like predictable natural events.
The sun will rise tomorrow.
Exactly. These are things that are going to happen regardless of our personal plans or intentions.
They're like unchangeable facts, even though they're in the future.
The universe has spoken.
All right, last but not least, we have about to. This one seems pretty straightforward.
It is. It's like the right now of the future.
It signals that something is about to happen like any second now.
Like when you're at the movies and you hear, the movie's about to begin.
You know, you better get your popcorn ready.
Or like, I'm about to lose my mind.
Okay, so we've got our 5 future faking methods. Will for instant decisions.
Going to for plans.
Present continuous for schedules.
Present simple for timetables and natural events.
And about to for things that are about to happen.
We've got all our bases covered.
And you know, the sources you sent me, they mentioned a really common mistake that English learners often make with all of this.
At that.
They tend to overuse will in situations where it sounds a little unnatural.
Ah, yeah, I've seen that.
Like saying, I will go to the store tomorrow.
When I'm going to go to the store tomorrow would sound more natural.
It's that sense of intention and pre-planning that going to conveys.
It's like you've already decided to go to the store and you're just letting people know.
Whereas I will go to the store tomorrow sounds more like a decision you're making right now in the moment.
Like someone just reminded you that you need milk.
So it's all about using the right tool for the right job.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see how native speakers use these forms without even thinking about it.
Right. It's like second nature to us.
Totally. Like when you see someone struggling to open a door.
You're more likely to say, I'll get that for you, rather than I'm going to get that for you.
Because it's a spontaneous offer of help.
Going on us would sound weird in that situation, almost like you were planning to open the door for them all along.
Like you were just waiting for them to struggle.
And another interesting thing is how we use these future forms to signal our level of commitment or responsibility.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
Like saying the project will be finished by Friday.
Sounds a bit vague.
Right. It's like you're distancing yourself from the task.
But if you say, I am finishing the project by Friday,
that's way more direct and accountable.
it's like you owning it.
You're the one who's making sure it gets done.
It's all about taking responsibility for the future.
And we can even use these future forms to ramp up the drama.
Oh, I love a bit of drama.
Me too. Like saying he's about to explode.
That sounds way more intense than he will be angry. It creates a sense of urgency, like something's about to go down.
And you know what else? Will can sometimes sound a little harsh or demanding.
Oh yeah, it can definitely come across as a bit bossy.
But you can soften it up by using can instead.
Good tip.
Like instead of saying, I'll need that report by tomorrow,
Which sounds a bit like an order.
you could say, can I get that report by tomorrow? Or, can you get that report to me by tomorrow?
That's much more polite and collaborative.
So it's a simple little tweak, but it can make a big difference in how you come across.
It's all about those little nuances.
Now, as with anything in language, there are always exceptions to the rules.
There are always those pesky little gray areas.
Like when you're talking about the weather.
Ah, yes. The weather always throws a curveball.
Saying it will rain tomorrow is like a general prediction,
It is based on the forecast.
but saying it's going to rain often implies that there's evidence right now that rain is coming.
Like you can see those dark clouds gathering.
So in this case, going to is based on what you can see and experience in the present.
It's like a prediction with more certainty.
And what about when we're talking about threats?
Oh yeah, threats are a whole other ballgame.
I will tell your mother sounds like a very serious and determined threat.
It's a promise you intend to keep.
But I'm telling your mother,
Ooh, that's more immediate.
like you're about to pick up the phone and call her right this second.
There's no escaping mom's wrath.
So you see, the choice of future form can really affect how a threat is perceived.
It's all about the level of urgency and certainty.
And believe it or not, we can even use these future forms for sarcasm.
Oh, sarcasm, my favorite.
Like when you say, oh, you're gonna love this.
But you know they're gonna absolutely hate it.
The use of going to creates this ironic contrast between what you're saying and what you actually mean.
Sarcasm is an art form.
Speaking of art, your sources included a great story from a listener that really highlights how these subtle differences in future forms can lead to real-life confusion.
Oh yeah, what was that one?
So this person told their boss, I'm gonna go, meaning they were planning to leave later in the day.
Makes sense?
But the boss was totally confused and asked, so you're leaving right now?
Oh no, that's awkward.
It's a classic example of how going to can be interpreted as a more immediate intention than intended.
It's all about being mindful of those subtle differences.
Absolutely. So now that we've armed you with all this future tense knowledge, we thought it would be fun to give you a little challenge.
Challenge accepted.
We're calling it Future Tense Spy.
I love it.
Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to become a linguistic detective in your everyday life.
I'm already feeling like Sherlock Holmes.
The first step is to pay attention to how people around you use future phrases in their conversations.
Eavesdrop much.
Hey, no judgment here. But seriously, try to notice when someone uses will, going to the present continuous, or any of the other forms we've talked about.
And then try to figure out why they chose that specific form.
Exactly. Was it an instant decision? A pre-existing plan? A scheduled event?
It's like a grammar puzzle.
Yeah. And for the second part of your mission,
Get me with it.
try taking a sentence you hear someone say that uses will to refer to the future and mentally swap it out with going to.
I like where this is going.
Does it still sound natural? Does the meaning change at all?
It's a fun way to test your understanding of those nuances.
And lastly, let's get a little creative.
Ooh, I'm all about creativity.
Come up with a funny or unexpected prediction using will.
Like, my dog will finally learn to speak French.
Or, I will win the lottery next week.
Manifest it.
Share your predictions with us on social media using the hashtag #FutureTenseSpy.
We can't wait to see what you come up with.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've learned in this future-atastic deep dive.
Time to put it all together.
We started by debunking the myth that English has a true future tense.
We exposed the truth.
And we explored how English uses a combination of modal verbs and phrases to express future time.
We're all about that linguistic innovation.
We broke down those 5 key methods: will, going to the present, continuous the present simple, and about to.
We analyze them from every angle.
And we talked about the subtle differences in when to use each one and how native speakers use them in everyday conversation.
It's all about understanding those unspoken rules of language.
So the next time someone asks you, will you come to my party?
Don't just say yes or no.
Get fancy with it. Use your newfound future tense knowledge to craft a nuanced response.
Like, I'm going to try my best to be there, but I might be about to start a new Netflix series.
Or, I will be there unless the world ends tomorrow.
Always a possibility.
So you see, you now have the power to express the future with more precision and creativity than ever before.
The future is in your hands.
And speaking of the future, be sure to join us for our next deep dive, when we'll be tackling another fascinating linguistic mystery.
Can't wait.
We'll be exploring the surprisingly complex world of small talk.
Ooh, that's juicy.
Get ready to uncover why we say, "How are you?" but answer, "I'm good," and other small talk lies.
Because fine is never really fine.
It's going to be a good one, so don't miss it.
And you know what's really amazing? When you think about it, even the simplest things we do with language, like talking about the future, have this hidden layer of complexity.
It's like an iceberg.
Totally. We only see the tip, but there's so much more going on beneath the surface.
And understanding those deeper levels can really change the way you see and use language.
It's like unlocking a secret code.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop learning about the wonderful world of words.
Until next time.